Ready for the women's javelin. Craig Masbach joins me right now. The world record, 247 feet 4 inches, set last year by that young lady, Petra Felke, from East Germany. And this will be her first attempt.
You can see her as she stands there, Charlie. She's not one of the biggest javelin throwers in the world. She's only 5 feet 8, 139 pounds. But you don't have to be so big. You don't have to be super strong and big to throw the javelin well. That's not like the shot put or some of the other throwing events. Technique is the most important aspect of the javelin, one of the most complex events in track and field.
She was #1 in the world in 1984 and 85. Petra Felke from East Germany. That's first throw.
That's a good throw, Charlie. Got pretty well out past the 70-meter mark.
And the measurement is coming up, but let's look at her form once again.
You can see what's so difficult about the javelin. You've got to generate speed on the runway and then turn the body around so that you can fling the javelin, being careful not to go over that line there. You can see she had good travel on the javelin. She had a good angle of release, which is so important.
It measures 70.78 meters. That equals 232 feet 3 inches. So Petra Felke out in front in the women's javelin, and we have a Goodwill profile on the young lady from East Germany.
In the beginning, I wanted to become a heptathlete. In school, however, I found out that I could throw the ball very well, which is very extraordinary for a woman. That's the reason I started throwing the javelin. When I was younger, I also enjoyed cycling with my sister. But when she stopped, I also stopped. That's when I began in track and field. My coach already has ideas on how far I can throw. He says more than 260 feet. That's 15 feet over the world record, which seems quite unbelievable to me. I'd like to practice now, but it was not always like that, especially in the beginning. At first I tried to avoid heavy athletic training, but now I take my training very serious.
I must not push her too much. Actually, I must try to slow her down sometimes, because she is such an intense person. Everything she does, she gives 100%. Not only in athletics. Everything she does in life, she gives her best effort. Therefore, I must not push her too much in training, in her studies, or anything else.
For the moment, I am studying sports. Later, I would like to work as a sports teacher with handicapped children. I also like animals a lot. I used to have 2 birds and a mouse, but 2 years ago, I had to give them up because so much of my time must be devoted to training. Now I can only read about animals. Who is my dream man? I think that I'm past the age where men must be tall, dark, and handsome. That's something for teenagers. I think in a relationship you must have understanding and respect for each other, with the precondition being honesty. As an athlete, you always try to be the best. For the past 2 years, I've been #1 in the world in javelin. This keeps me going. It's a good feeling when you're on top.
#1 in the world the last 2 years. Last year, she won 25 meets in a row. No wonder she was #1 last year.
And she started off well this year through 239.9 in her first meet. Leads the world, but she hurt her back, so she's kind of on the comeback trail. Let's see how she throws here.
This is her second attempt. Petra Felke of East Germany.
You can see she had good speed, and it didn't travel as far, mainly because the angle of release was not as good.
Now, we want to remind our viewers that the women's javelin did not go through any changes as the men's javelin did.
Now, they weren't threatening the spectators like the men were yet.
Her second throw, 217 feet 5 inches, but she wins with the throw of 232 feet 3 inches to win the women's javelin.
I'll be back.